Hello everyone! It's that time again, it's Monday. Welcome to today's live stream. How's it going? Welcome on in, make yourselves a drink, let's get settled. We've been on a massive roof clean today, probably the second biggest roof we've ever done. Do you want to have a little sticky beak? Let me show you what we've been up to. It's been pretty intense. A couple of hiccups. One of them jobs that just doesn't seem to want to go to plan from the very beginning, unfortunately. Welcome everyone. It's lovely to have you. Craig, Tracy, Petter, double T, that's got to be Petter, hasn't it? Cameron, welcome. Mr. Lunch to go. How's it going? Not seen your name in the chat before. Welcome. Darren. Alex. Genesis. Why are you retiring the XJet? Well, we'll get into that in just a second. I've got some strong opinions on it. Some very strong opinions. It could ruffle some feathers. It could be controversial. This is what we were doing today. Size of that. It's not necessarily that it was such a big roof, although it is a big roof, but it's more that it was quite technically challenging in terms of the amount of nooks and crannies. And like, it is a big roof. If you consider this one section here, this side, is like probably the size of most normal house roofs. Just that one side is like, that's the front of someone's average house. And so there was just a hell of a lot to do, and the water pressure was terrible, and so we ended up having to go down to one machine. The customer had not long moved in, so she'd not really had a chance to get to know the neighbours, so she didn't really feel comfortable asking the neighbours if we could have some of their water, which is totally understandable. But if you consider all these little nooks and crannies and stuff that we have to get round, didn't even get onto the back today. We made a real good go of it. We've done basically this whole C shape here. So we've done everything on the inside of here, the bottom bit there, all this, all that. Those drone skills are insane. Who's flying that then? We've done this, the bit on the front. Everything on the front basically is done. Done that. But everything from the back we're going to need to access from a scaffold tower. And if you just have a little look here, like that's 3 stories there, that is. So I'm going to need to build the scaffold tower down the bottom here. Build it right up to 3 stories. This bit I can, you know, that's no problem. Yeah, just another controversial opinion. I don't like the flat surface cleaner. I've never liked it. There was a couple of occasions where I've liked it. I'll give it that. I have liked it on a few occasions. But to be like super effective, like it does leave white spots behind, whereas the turbo doesn't, and it does leave little bits of moss behind, whereas the turbo doesn't. And so I'm not particularly sold on the idea of the flat surface cleaner on roofs. In order to get all those white spots and all of that moss, you end up needing to turn the pressure right up to the point where it's like difficult to control. It's hard to keep it on the roof, I've found personally. There's going to be a bunch of you in the chat saying you're doing it wrong, you have no idea what you're talking about, but nothing better than listening to Jake's voice while I'm in the bath. Oh my god. House to home, welcome. I'm guessing to swap to the ProJet. No. Not the Pro Foam either, no. Sausage! Welcome, Rich. You're right, mate. Good to see the sock's back. Did you miss the sock? I've turned him around, but his face is on this side. There he is, look. He's still there, yeah, okay. Looks like a little bit of a dirty sock, but it's not. I promise. Ruffle away, ruffle his feathers. Tintin's welcome. I hardly use my applicators now, just the Nano Lance. Saves a fortune on hypo. How are you turning the drone so smoothly? I'm well versed. I'm well practiced. Do you want to see the job that we did the other day and check out this drone footage, man? I think Kieran was impressed. I think I impressed our boy Kiwi. He said, "Can you fly through that gate?" I was like, "Yes, I can." Here we go. Have a look at this for some footage then. This was the one we did last week. This was the biggest biggest roof we've ever cleaned. Check out that for some smooth drone footage. Could have been smoother. And then when I'm coming around here, I accidentally turned it up the wrong way. I was supposed to go down, not up. Ruined it. Ruined the whole shot. That was a big old roof. Big old drive, big old patio. Just generally a big old job. Still got to go back and resand that, but customer was pleased. Size that house, man. There's some money floating about in the Christ. Cleaned all that patio. Cleaned the chessboard down the bottom. Cleaned the roof. Cleaned the driveway. What a job. Cleaned the solar panels. The roof was just a scrape, so the biocide hadn't quite had a chance to work just yet, but you get the idea. You do get the idea. There's our boy Kiwi. My drone just stopped working today. Like the screen just went black. And I don't know why. We had some issues with the cherry picker as well. Bits just started falling off it. See all this here? I don't know if you could be able to see. Over here, these arms, where it feeds all the hydraulic cables through, it sort of comes in and out like this. And those hydraulic hoses were just sort of floating around, and all the plastic gubbins were just not really attached very well. And so they're going to get it serviced before we have it again, but it was just falling apart. There was one point where I was stuck up on the roof, or stuck up on the cherry picker at like pretty, not full height, but it was, pretty high. And I realised as I was coming back in, the hoses were just bunching up and getting trapped behind the metal bit. And I thought, if I go in any further now, if I push it, those hoses are going to shear. It was all held together by cable ties and stuff, and I just thought, this ain't right. They need to get this sorted, really, because it's not quite safe. But good progress today. Got all the front done. Now, the reason that I'm considering retiring the XJet is after a bit of palaver last week. I've realised I don't think it's ideal. I think there's so much chemical waste. You burn through so much more than the actual active. How can I put it? With the amount of like hypo that you get through using an XJet, normal revs, normal ratios and stuff, you get through way more hypo than is actually effective on the surface. I don't think it's anywhere near the most effective method of application. My results have just not been great recently, and thought it was the O-rings perished, so I've taken apart the switch tip and replaced the O-ring and see if we can get a better seal on it and stuff. And it's just not great. Quite unreliable. I realise it's very clumsy. You know, walking around with like a 25 litre barrel of hypo that, yes, we sort of decant and we only use half at a time, but it's still, you're walking around with 10 litres of hypo. It's heavy. You've got multiple hoses coming off it. So you've got the hose from the pressure washer, you've got the hose to the XJet, and you've got your mask on, your goggles, and you're going around the property. You're getting your hose caught on the on the walls and on the furniture and stuff. You put the barrel down, and then the bottom of the barrel's covered in hypo. All your feet are covered in hypo. Your hose. You try and find a safe spot to sort of come back and rinse everything off and rinse your hose through, and it's all just so clumsy. And then you realise that your application hasn't been particularly effective. And what we've been doing recently is using the CleanLink backpack. By the way, if anyone wants anything from CleanLink, we have a code that you'll see pop up on the bottom of your screen in a minute, and it's a 5% off CleanLink code. But we've got this backpack from CleanLink, and I've got the standard pump in there at the minute, so nothing fancy going on. Ooh. They supply it with a chemical pump as well. That, we don't say the phrase. We don't say, it's a forbidden phrase. It's an industry improvement. It's not, there's nothing to do with changing any games or anything like that. That is a hose lock clunk click type female, and you can get a chemical pump with it. That's brilliant. We're just using the standard pump at the minute, and it's been fine for ages. We clean it through with water afterwards, and I've been plugging this into my big hose reel and just running the gardener lance off it. So we got this, and it's been fantastic. Apart from, I ran hypo through it once, and now this lance has got literal pinholes in it. And I didn't think that was possible, to corrode a lance like this after one use, but there's literally pinholes in it. So we can't use that lance anymore. But it was like extremely effective at the ratio that it was. You know, we're still putting it down at about 1:5, and hang on. We're still putting it down about 1:5, but we're only putting it down once. Why have I been logged out? Sorry, 2 seconds. We want some music, don't we? Yeah, I found that I only have to apply it once, whereas with the XJet, I'm applying it a couple of times, and then I've still got to get the pump sprayer out and go in even stronger. And I'm just thinking, I'm totally wasting my time here. It's clearly not doing its job. So I thought, we need to change something here. Because you can also do, we've been doing hypo, we've been doing biocide. And so what I've decided to do, I've been talking about it for a long time. Let me catch up with the chat first, hang on. You don't know what you're doing, you cowboy. Okay, thanks Daz. You're doing it wrong. Hello Luke, you right mate? Spencer. You're right, Spencer. You have no idea what you're talking about. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? You too. Project for the win. It's been a delight. I've got no issue with the equipment. The equipment does what it says it's going to do. I just don't. I don't think it's optimized I think it could be easier. These things are built to save us time. Jake's actually now a qualified pilot. I don't know. Oh, you mean for the drone? Sorry, I was going to say I don't know what you're talking about. You'll have a house that big at this rate, Jake. You say that. We've just bought a house. And I've got a double garage. I never thought I'd own a double garage, but I've got one. It's insane. What did you have to resand? Was it the monoblock as well? Yeah, we've got to go around the border of the border of that tarmac drive. We're going to resand it this week if we get a dry spell. The weather's been all over the place. The red soft wash gun, I have seen those. Evening, Paul. Cleaned the driveway today using 3-to-1 with the XJet black spot, and it didn't even touch it. Completely agree on how uncomfortable it is moving around the area, pulling hoses and tangling, brutal. Yeah, I just don't think it's particular. Like, so the mindset that I'm coming from is we're going to be employing someone soon, and Kieran's going to be training. Well, me and Kieran are going to be training them up. When I'm leaving them to their own devices, I don't think I want them using the XJet. I think there's just too much to go wrong. It's not particularly controlled. It feels like a waste of time when it doesn't do its job. And I think there's just far simpler versions of it, which we're going to get onto in a second. I've got some stuff here to show you. So I'm in the motion of building something. Looks like my 55 quid backpack from eBay. I think they are the same one. I think they are. I've been using my gardener backpack and water-fed pole and brushing hypo onto the ground surfaces recently, and it's loads better. Yep. Get the lance I have. It's literally 1/2-inch stainless. If it don't work, you can beat the patio into submission. You said it, we made the joke. I don't know what you were talking about, Matt. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I do like my XJet. It's just shorten the chemical hose part. Shorten the chemical hose part. Yeah, we should definitely do that as well. Slightly rusty now. My gal's been busy. Right. So this is what I've decided to do. I've gone on to Tanks Direct. Am I shouting? I've got my headphones in. My microphone's right here. I can't tell if I'm shouting or not. I've gone on to Tanks Direct. Me and Kieran have been talking about this since he started, because I said there's got to be a better way of doing this, and he agrees. So I thought, right, I've been thinking about this for ages. Let's just do it. And so I've gone for 2 60-litre upright tanks. 2 of these. Natural, with an outlet at the bottom. No tail. No plug. 67 quid plus VAT plus delivery. Don't forget about delivery on this website. It's a bit of a nuisance. 2 of those. One of them's going to be filled with hypo. Haven't decided if I'm going to pre-dilute it yet. I don't think I will. I'm just worried about it degrading too quickly. We could try it. I could definitely try it, because with how quick we get through hypo, we'll probably get through 20 litres in less than a week easily. Maybe not now, with the way we're going to be putting it through, but one's going to be filled with hypo, one's going to be filled with biocide. The biocide one is definitely going to be diluted. Either 50-50 or this is lovely vibes, isn't it, this song? Either 50-50 or we're going to dilute it a little bit weaker, maybe 1-4. Shay from Nyclean has inspired me to get this done after our chat on the live stream a couple of weeks back. And if you missed that, it was a very informative chat, and I thoroughly recommend that you go back, and have a little sticky beak at that one. If you go on the live tab on YouTube and go back through this one here, chatting with Shay from NiClean. So I've got 2 of these, and then I've gone and ordered, I've gone on to AC pressure washers. I've ordered one of these. So this one's a 1000 ml soft wash lance, and I've got it right here with me now. She's a big one. I mean, the picture, I think that picture is the stubby version, so I didn't quite expect it to be as big as it is. But it's pretty lengthy. The beauty about this one is it's not going to corrode, and it's got a proper trigger. Oh, it's an ST515. So all the other little lances I've got, the little pump sprayer lances and stuff, they're all just cheap. You just know they're just like not designed to last. They're just sort of hobbyist DIY style materials and fittings and stuff. And I break all of them. Every one I've owned is broken. So I thought, okay, we need something that's definitely going to last. So we've got the lance. Beauty of this one, stainless steel. It's not going to corrode. I mean, it will corrode eventually, but not as bad as the other stuff that we've had. And it's got a quick release gubbing on the end of it. It's got the same quick release, the 1/4 inch quick release that we use for the pressure washer. And we've got loads of nozzles hanging around in the van for the pressure washer that we just don't use. And so I'm even thinking the black soap nozzle. The black one that we use for rinsing down, the massive orifice that lets out loads of water, and it's designed to be a soap nozzle for your machine. I'm thinking, why don't we use one of them? Get the chemical down. You'd get it down so quick. Probably too quick. We might need to go a few steps back from that one. But I'd love to try it. Imagine how quick you'd get the hypo down with that black nozzle. And with it being so long, you get it right down to the ground. It's not up here like the XJet. You're getting it right down on the ground. You're saturating the surface. You're not just misting it. I think the only downside of this compared to the XJet is going to be lack of foam. So although we're still going to have surfactant in the hypo mix, nothing about this lance, I don't think, is going to make the chemical foam, unless there's something fancy in here, which I don't think there is. So the XJet have got, like, I think it's got like a little gauze, or there's something in the XJet. I think it's that that Venturi effect. Maybe it aerates the surfactant as it comes through, which maybe causes it to foam. I don't know. I don't think you're going to get the same effect with this. So nice big chemical lance, premium, high quality, 60 quid plus VAT, but I think it was money well spent. We're going to get a stainless steel fitting to go in here. It's just going to be a barb fitting, and then I'm going to stick one of these on. So CleanLink recently fitted me a Go Tubeless. They recently fitted me this Go Tubeless kit on my water-fed poles. And so I'm going to put one of these tails. It's literally just the grey bit there. I'm going to put the grey tail onto the end of this lance, and so instead of plugging my water-fed pole into my hose reel, I can just plug that lance into my hose reel. Because what we've been doing, I don't know if I can show you, maybe I can show you on my recent video that we did on the roof. It was this roof here. I'll show you in a sec, because I'll show you exactly what we've been doing so far, and it's been working really well. It's been very effective. But I've also been having issues with my backpack. I've been using the wrong charger, I've realised. I've been using an old charger, and it's not been particularly effective. I don't know if I can actually find it on here, actually. Did I not film it? Oh, I don't think I filmed it. I've got the bit where I'm applying the biocide. But essentially, we've got the chemical... What's it called? It's like a switch. It's like a switch inside the water-fed pole where you can pull it and it turns it on, and then you pull it and it turns it back off again. But we've essentially just been plugging the hose reel into the gardener backpack. Ah, I thought I filmed it. Did I not film it? That's a bit annoying. Oh, here we go. I did film it. Thought I did. Right, univalve, thank you. It's a chemical univalve that we've got. So this is what we've been doing. I've been using the backpack inside the back of the van, plugging it into the side of the hose reel. So we've been bypassing the pump, bypassing the pure water system, and then plugging the biocide directly into the hose reel. And I was thinking we could do that with this lance. So all I need to do is create a fitting so that I can plug the fitting onto the hose reel, and that will work lovely then. But then I've realised I'd like a bit more flow, and I don't want to have the boys having to decant anything. So that's the thing I'm trying to get away from, is them having to mix chemicals, decant any chemicals from the barrels, because that's another thing as well, which is something that is a bit of a concern for me. Carrying around these big 25-litre drums of hypo and biocide and stuff, you know, you take the lid off and you pop it down onto the floor, you get that you know, all the air that comes up through, and sometimes it splashes, and then sometimes you're pouring it out, and because it's too full, it's glugging and it's splashing, and there's so much opportunity for something to go in your eye, in your face, on the customer's drive. Like, there's so much that can go wrong, and so I'm trying to avoid all of that with my staff. And so I'm thinking, how can I combine all these different things with like a stronger pump that's going to output the chemicals a bit faster? It whips the air into the mix. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what I'm doing, 2 tanks, one with biocide, one with hypo. I've ordered a new pump. It's a new chemical pump. I don't think I got it from AC in the end, because AC was a little bit more expensive than Amazon, and I know that's bad because you support local businesses and stuff. But it was quite significantly more expensive than Amazon, so I ended up going for Amazon in the end. Oh, I could have done with getting a cone. We need some cones, actually. So I landed on... Where's soft washing? Chemicals, chemical application, chemical pumps. So I landed on the 8.3 litre per minute chemical pump, the F220 2200. Why does this music keep going? It's quite frustrating, actually. Now just play them all. Just keep playing. Christ almighty. So 8.3 litres a minute, which I'm not going to achieve with the hose that we've got. So that that's like an internal diameter of like a 5mm hose. I still haven't got YouTube Premium. that's like a 5mm internal diameter hose there, and I think the orange one before it is 6mm. So over like, that's 100 meters of hose, and I think I'm going to chop it down to like 60 or 70 meters just to get that chemical through a bit quicker, because sometimes I'm finding I'm having to wait like 30 seconds to a minute before the chemical actually makes its way through. But that's with the little 3 litre a minute pump that comes standard in the backpack. So I'm thinking we uprate the pump, give it a bit more punch, which, I mean, that's going to be a significant upgrade from the backpack. And it's a chemical pump, so it should be corrosion resistant. It's got all the Viton seals and stuff. It's going to draw a bit more ampage from the battery, but I think we're in quite a unique position where, because we've got everything mounted back here, and we've got a massive van battery down here that is constantly cycling and being recharged by these machines every time we use them. We've got a power supply that's sort of managing itself that we can tee off of, and I don't think many people have that ability, because they either need like solar, or they need to keep recharging the battery. They have to take it out of the van at night and recharge it and then put it back in the morning. I don't think we're going to have to do that even with a bigger pump, because we can just tee off of the battery that's connected to the pressure washers, because they seem to do a good job of recharging them. I've never had to charge that battery, so that's good. So I'm going to figure out some sort of system. I've also come across, which I didn't know these existed before, but I've come across some valves, and they are called metering valves. I didn't know about these. I've gone for these, although I think they're going to be too small. So this is a chemical metering valve, and you have 2 inputs and 1 output. So you have your chemical, your water, and then you have the 1 output, which is like the result of both. And you can change obviously the ratio with the little dials on the valve. I don't think this is going to work, purely because these outputs, or the inputs, are too small. I don't think it's going to draw it through quick enough. But I've got one of them on the way to try, and I can mount that on like, I can mount it on like a, what do you call it? Just a piece of metal or something. What's it called? Can't remember what it's called. I've also got this one. So this is, it's kind of like a metering valve, but this one's called a 3-way ball valve, and it is a very similar concept. The only difference with this one is that it doesn't have any numbers on it. So I'd have to make that for the boys, because I want the boys to find a setup that they're happy with, that's reliable, and that they can just go to and switch on. Even if this thing doesn't work, but I think it's an L-shaped valve. So I think while these 2 are open, this one's closed, and while these 2 are open, this one's closed. And so I'm not sure that's going to work. However, this will be good at the bottom, where we can decide, okay, do we want hypo on the left, or do we want biocide on the right? And this is going to have to be a training thing, where it's like, you can't have it halfway, because then we're potentially mixing chemicals, and we don't want that. I don't think I'm going to use it that way, because that is another concern of mine, is mixing chemicals. And one of the reasons that I'm getting rid of the XJet is so that that can't happen, basically. Because the other thing with the XJet is, if you've got some like residual fluid in that hose, because it's quite a long hose that's standard on the XJet, if you've got some like biocide that someone's not rinsed out, biocide's very gloopy and very thick, and it can set and dry inside the hose. So if someone's forgot to clean it out, and then you run some hypo through it, or some synergy, or some TFR, who knows what that reaction is going to do? I don't know what it would do, but I don't want my employees to find out. So I want to try and limit that as well. So I've got this on the way. I've got a couple of them on the way. I've got 2 of these, and I've got something called a manifold. So it's like a soft wash manifold, and this will allow me. Yeah, these are metering valves. Look, it's that sort of concept. Something like this. So I've not quite got it in my head exactly how it's going to be just yet, but oh, X-Line do them. Ooh, interesting. How much are these? Okay, well that's not going to work, is it? Because it's 780 quid including VAT. Mounted on an aluminium plate. That's what I was going to do. For flow rates over 30 litres a minute. So has this got anything? What's in that to justify that price? So this is cool. I like the idea of the metering valves, but that's not where the cost is. So what's inside here? Is that just an empty box? Surely not. This is essentially what I'm making. I'm going to have one for water, one for hypo, one for biocide. But I'm going to make it way cheaper than that. I can't understand why that's that price. Precisely machined from solid PVC block. Strange. This is essentially what I'm trying to make. Those valves look a little bit nicer, actually. There's mixing chambers in the X-Line box. They're pricey for what you get. Big PVC metering valves are very expensive, are they? Why? Why? Why don't you just buy or build your own soft wash system? That's what I'm doing. We're building our own soft wash system. It's exactly what I'm doing. So I've got my tanks on the way. I've got my metering valves, which again, I don't think these are going to work, but I wanted to try them anyway because they look like what I want. Let's have a look at PVC metering valves, because these are stainless steel as well, which is what attracted me to them. And they're nice and small, and they're mountable because they've got this little nut on the back that you can take all that off, push it through a plate, and then mount it all back on. Yeah, these look good. See, that's a tenner. Plastic pipe shop. Does anyone know how all these valves connect? See, I want something with numbers on it so that we can, once we've found, obviously we're not going to know the exact ratio, but once we've found a ratio that we're happy with, we can set it to that. So the numbers are important, even though they wouldn't necessarily mean anything. They'll give us a reference point. Does anyone know how these PVC connectors join up? Because I've never, they're PVC unions, aren't they? I don't know anything about plumbing, but it looks like, I also looked at these, which look ideal, but the reviews said that these break very easily, so I'm not going to use those. Like if you do the fitting up too tightly, it just splits, so I'm not even going to waste my time with that. But this looks perfect. It looks ideal. Looks like exactly what I want, other than the fact that I don't think it's mountable. I want it to be mountable. Avoid cracking the product. It even says it in the pictures now because they've had so many complaints about it. So do these pipes just like push in? Hero Soft Wash, he's got some on his website, look. £192. Why does this happen to the pressure washing industry? How can that be justified, really? It's a ball valve with some writing on it. Come on. That's ridiculous. And it's out of stock. That's useful. That one looks like a good one. The PVC is glued fittings used to build dosing rigs. Happy to chat in the Discord. That's cool. That's a cool way of doing it, because I was always concerned about all this PVC stuff. Because the glue that isn't the glue that you use on PVC pipes, doesn't it sort of melt the PVC together? It reacts with the PVC. Is that right? Stick with your XJet. No, I will find a better way. I will. Precise linear flow control. Yeah, this looks good. This looks really good. I also like that one as well. No prices on any of these products. Very, very handy. Thank you. Alibaba. Alibaba will have a price for me. Swimming pool dose. Yeah, it's like a swimming pool thing, isn't it? Like a dosing thing. So this is going to be, yeah, this is what we're working on basically. Trying to get something good sorted. I've got my lance. Now I just need to figure out this bit. You just need to look at how the Yanks do it. I have been taking some inspiration from the Yanks. If we type in soft wash system, most of them are American. Yeah, something like that. Just a big old pump connected to a big old tank. What's he running through? Connected to a big old hose. So his hose is a lot thicker than mine. I am concerned that my hose is going to be too thin. That is a concern of mine. Here we go. This is like exactly what we're building. Ideally, you want double union valves so you can swap out the valves if they break and don't have to fully rebuild the system. Double union valves. Okay.
5-gallon batch soft wash system.
5-gallon batch.
SCSW, and this is a really cool little piece of kit here. So you guys know we build a lot of rigs. We only, up to this point, build blendable systems. That's really kind of the business. That's what you want to get into, a blendable system. So we invented our own blend valve a few years ago, metering valve, the batch buster. And its purpose was to bust batching, right? To get rid of batching and make it a blendable technology, which is a much easier way to operate out in the field every day. But that being said, batch mixing still has its place. Guys, I did batch mixing for 15 years back in high school. I'll go all the way back when I was a kid with to the business, kind of dip their toe. Here is a 100% copolymer system that is chemical proof, not chemical resistant.
That is a chunky pump. That's a big old chunky pump connected to a big old battery. For him to have a trigger that big on it and a hose that thick, it's got to be a chunky pump, hasn't it?
Chemical proof, internally baffled platform, and that's going to hold 45 gallons, right? You can see the 45 right there. 45 gallons of mix. Well, what kind of mix? Whatever kind of mix you want to put in there. Grab this, go over to the website. You can use our batch mix calculator.
Okay.
And figure out what you want to make for. And a 2-pin port over there. It's already mounted, and a good little run of wire coming off the back. So we have those 2-pin ports custom made for us in good quality 10 gauge. And we'll probably go ahead and put your little ring terminals on there for you. So all you got to supply is a 24 volt.
This video, that means you bought one of our soft wash and pressure washing setups right here. We're going to go through the tutorial of how to operate everything. So first,
that looks like a similar pump to what I've just bought. Connected to the battery.
we've got the marine battery right here.
Marine
That's
battery.
the 12-volt pump. To turn your pump on is right here. Okay.
Ooh. Okay, we've got something similar from CleanLink. We've got, it's an on-off switch, but it's also you can adjust the flow. So he's got his manifold. So that's going to pull. That's going to pull liquid, isn't it? The pump's going to suck that liquid through.
You have your water line, your soap and surfactant, and bleach. When you are using this proportioner, your water is going to be on all the way open. And all the way open means your GF is completely upside down, okay?
Okay. Get it bought and throw it in the boot of the Jag. X-Line mixing stations, £2 plus VAT. Ugh, what's a double union valve? Do you mean just 2 of these? Just in case the first one fails? Okay. So they're just called union valves then? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's... I thought I'd update you on that basically, because I think it's going to reduce a lot of risk for us when I'm sending the boys out. And I think it's going to be so much more efficient. And just being able... I've always wanted to use my pressure washer nozzles with the chemical lengths. And that's going to just be brilliant. So, happy with that. I've also got a new door handle. I ripped my door handle off the van again. This is the 3rd handle on the side door now. Jakey pulled the first one off. Snapped it here. I think Zach broke it the 2nd time after I replaced it. And I've just broke it again for a 3rd time. We're just absolute animals. We're beasts. Does anyone else agree about the XJet? About how it's just... It struggles sometimes. And it's clunky and clumsy. Or is it just me? You're going to need a bigger van, yes. I was thinking about that. Another two more 60-litre tanks in the van. Although, I think the footprint is going to be very similar to just having 2 barrels. And you can't put anything on top of the barrels, so an upright tank's going to make no difference. I think it's going to be like having 2 barrels sat next to each other, 2 25-litre barrels. But we can actually carry more chemicals with us because we can fill it right to the top, and it's ready to go. Why don't you chat with Hero Softwash? Could do. Yeah, could do. Three-way flush valve and a blend manifold. Metering valves are not like normal valves. The softwash manifolds have a non-return valve in them. Okay, that makes sense. I suppose the non-return valve is so you don't... Matt mentioned something about an air, like you can get air bubbles in there and stuff, and it can mess things up. To be fair, I do wash my XJet out after every job when I get home. It's becoming a bit long-winded. Yeah, we do it at the job, and it's just it is quite annoying. Gonna boot the XJet down the road because Jake said so. Exactly. Had mine since January, not using it most days, not had a problem yet. It works, and it serves its purpose. It's just I don't think it's as efficient as it could be. General chat video. Let's have a look, Tintins. Let's have a look, matey. Oh my god. Jeez. Unnecessarily loud.
Alright, that's the manifold, the clear manifold block.
Oh, it's clear. Oh, that's fancy. A clear manifold block. That is fancy indeed, isn't it?
On them. Check valves.
Check valves. That's a non-return valve, isn't it? A check valve. Is that right?
And then 3/4 fittings, and this is a 1/4 inch fitting coming on the bottom. So we're going to turn on the bleach, and this way you can see and troubleshoot everything as it's happening.
Cool.
See
cool.
coming through there, and that's only like a 3%. If I turn it up, You can really see it. So you see that?
So where's that going?
Do the soap now. Look at that.
Oh, it's going that way. I like that it's bright
That's
green.
with our Freedom Wash Supply Grit and Glory house wash soap. The yellow, this is the lemon scent. We also have a cherry and an apple. But yeah, that's our manifold. That's going through a 7 gallon per minute Grimco pump, 100 psi, with a.
Did he say 7 gallon per minute?
Tip and an M5 twist on it.
Ah, you could put shooter tip. We could put the sniper. We could plug the sniper nozzle straight into that. I wonder if we'd get enough. I wonder if we get enough pressure behind it, enough flow behind it to actually make it any good or not. That's interesting.
We're getting a max when it's not windy. We're getting about 45 feet, 45 feet. And you want to switch to the Empire Twist for me, Chris?
That's the XJet nozzle.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and run water through it, but yeah, you can see the M5.
Cool. Yeah, similar to what we're going for, I think. Hope to get this fixed before the live stream. Tintin can fix it. New part came from China. What is that? Is that a pump? I can't tell what that is. Is that a belt driven? I don't understand. There's an exhaust there. That's an exhaust. That's a pump, by the looks of it. I don't see an engine. Is it diesel? Is it belt driven? What's going on here? Check out boom sprayer parts. Fimco, for example. Fimco manifold. Fimco manifold. Ooh. Well, that's just perfect, isn't it? That's exactly what I'm looking for. They've got it on Amazon. Well, bloody hell. Sprayer manifold. That's literally exactly what I want. Handgun. Well, that's what I'll be ordering tonight after the live stream. Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Matt. Where'd you put the pressure gauge? On the edge? Oh, it goes on the top. Oh, it goes on there. Cool. What a great little bit of kit. Well, what's delivery like? 28th of May. Tuesday 26th. Okay, I can get it. I can get it soon. Bloody brilliant. What about this one? Amazing. Thanks, Matt. I'll check that out. PVC glued fittings used to build dosing rigs in the water industry. I've read that already. Remember, don't use your pressure washer motor when you're using your soft wash manifold, as the pressure will obliterate it all, as it's not made for that amount of pressure. Don't use your pressure washer motor when you're using your soft wash manifold. It's connected to a separate bit of... You mean because of the battery? We can't run our pressure washers from the same battery when we're using our soft washing system? It's a different pump. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's a little clumsy. I don't really find it time consuming to clean as I do whilst chemical is getting its dwell time. As I do it when the chemical's getting its dwell time. It's because they're specialised industrial instruments. Those valves use a special V-port for exact linear flow, and those products are only engineered in small batches. That's why they're so expensive. Okay. V-ports. V-ports. Okay. XJet has its place compact and multi-use, but also has its drawbacks. Talk to Darren at PWS. I'd like to have a crack at making it myself, to be honest. It might make an interesting video as well, just watching all the mistakes that I make. They're only designed for small chemical plants. All the gear, no idea, welcome. We don't accept check valves, just backs, valves and cash. That's terrible, Matt. Solent, welcome. Just have different pickup hoses for different chemicals. I have 3, 1 hypo, 1 biocide, 1 TFR. That's not a bad idea. And you just drop the hose into the top of the tank. Do these pumps have any issue pulling the chemical out of the top of the tank? I was thinking I've got to fit everything quite low, because the bottom of the tank is where the outlet is, and so everything's going to be down towards this outlet. But if you're saying just drop a pickup hose down into the top of that, will it have any issues sucking that chemical up and out? So with a pickup hose, I suppose you could still put a proportionate or a metering valve after the pickup hose before the pump, couldn't you? But then you're sort of swapping hoses. You're potentially going from hypo to biocide, and then mixing whatever's contaminated on the end of the hose. I don't think that's ideal, really. Definitely that would work. I can see that would work. I'm not sure it's what we're looking for. I will consider that though, because that is another option, isn't it? Rather than building it all onto the bottom and having it all hard mounted. Don't mess about with them silly little nozzles. Get a J-rod with 3 fans and a sniper. I got one with my soft wash gun from Rutland. Okay, Dusty. Okay, Dusty. Do you use your sniper on roofs for applying biocide? Are you applying biocide? How? Because you do a lot of roofs. How are you putting your biocide on, Dusty? The Fresh Rinse on YouTube has bought out one of the cheapest soft washing systems in the USA, using blending valves and a cheap petrol pump. The Fresh Rinse. He's in our Discord, but it's the UK version. Is it called the Cheap Shot? Cheap Shot soft wash system explained. I've already watched a bit of this video, but
Cheap Shot.
Your household appliance has...
Damn adverts.
On the Cheap Shot. No expenses were cut back at all to provide for you the very best quality soft wash system on the market in my estimation. These are 1-inch valves. Every cheap shot will come equipped with 1-inch valves, and that's for the highest possible flow. And we'll talk about GPM, pressure, and distance here in just a moment. But these meters...
So I've noticed that all of these manifolds are at the top, aren't they? So the pump is down the bottom here. Oh, I did see these. I saw these valves as well. On AC pressure washers. They've got these as well. Here, look. These banjo valves. They're very expensive, aren't they? I wonder why that's better. Glass reinforced polypropylene, stainless steel bolts. I wonder why that's better than a normal valve, other than it being, like, I guess, corrosion resistant. That looks like the same kind of thing, doesn't it? So the pump is down here. The pump's down here, and it's drawing from all the way up here, and it's pulling anything that's open, basically. And so the pump is doing a lot of work to try and get it up like that. Why are they always mounted like upside down like that? I would have thought it'd be mounted the other way.
Valves, and that's
or sort of low down, low profile.
For the highest possible flow, and we'll talk about GPM, pressure, and distance here in just a moment. But these metering valves are equipped to give you the highest possible flow. We have the blue for water, we have the yellow for surfactant, and the red for SH. The manifold is a crystal clear manifold, allowing you to see any leaks that may take place in your system. As you know, metering systems commonly have leaks, and with every leak, it cuts down on flow, and you've got to repair those, but sometimes it's difficult to find the leak. Well, the clear manifold allows you to do that. When you're on the trigger with the machine running and there's a leak on the water side, then you're going to get bubbles on the water side. The same would be said for the soap line and the SH line. The clear manifold is the best possible solution to finding air leaks in your soft wash system.
Oh,
so let's
that's
take
a
just
big
a moment to talk about this
size of that pump.
1-inch system right here. What is this? Well,
by the way, very clever mounting system there. Nice big aluminium panel folded in one piece. Everything mounted to it. That's a good looking system, isn't it? It's crazy, all the ideas we have, they've all already been done, haven't they? And they've been done well by other people, usually in the US.
Well, this allows you to connect directly to your pressure hose, which is nothing more than a 3/4 inch water hose.
And there's a valve on top, so you can decide if you want to connect to your high pressure hose, running chemicals through your normal lance and your normal pressure hose. Oh, there's an engine on the back there as well. I thought it was going to be a big electric pump, but oh yeah, Daz said it's a petrol.
Of your choosing. You can either run directly to the pump with your water hose, or you can simply turn this around and you can run it straight to your hose reel. Some have asked if the hose reel restrictions cut down on flow. I'm to understand that if it does, it's not terribly noticeable. I choose to go directly to the pump from with my water hose, and that way I know for certain I'm getting the highest possible flow.
Okay. I've made one like the ones Yeti have for sale at the expo, the big box things, I remember, for nearly 400 quid. My build cost 150 quid, including the chemical pump, voltage regulator, bucket, and battery adapter, so I can run it off my power tool batteries. I like the idea of that as well. So we've got a couple of Erbauer drill batteries. I like the idea of just sticking them on recharge in the unit and just using those. But then again, same with the leaf blower. Once you run out, that's kind of it, isn't it? I don't want to be worried about running out of battery, which is why I like the big leisure like van batteries that we've got. How much more difficult is it to work downwards on a roof with a pole and a flat surface cleaner? working downwards on the back of, if you're talking about a pitched roof, say you've got a cherry picker going over the top of the roof and you're trying to work on the back side, it is very difficult. Very difficult. You can't see what you're doing, basically. We tried it once. We did it with Squeaky, not Squeaky Clean Dave, Cherry Picker Dan, and it wasn't fun. So we ended up having to try and move around the back on the neighbour's side. Those banjo valves are better than a normal one, probably because the standard ones are only designed to be fully open or closed. They create turbulence in the flow, so they will wear out rapidly. Good to know, good to know. Has anyone else seen anything interesting recently that they'd like to share? You won't be able to put any links in the chat, unfortunately, but I'm happy to bring stuff up on the stream if you think others would benefit from seeing it. Why don't you just get a 240 volt pump and run it off your small generator, loads of power and pressure? .240 volt chemical pump. Is that a thing? I hadn't even considered that, but that's a fantastic idea, actually. AdBlue transfer pump. You can get a drill battery, or you can get these little pumps that hook up to a drill, which is pretty cool. 12 volt chemical pump, self-priming. That's a very good idea. We've always got fuel in the van. Tintins, that's a very good idea. I'd never even considered that. Is there any decent 240 volt chemical pumps? He's just given me the idea to use my generator with my pump for soft washing. Yeah. I wonder if an AdBlue one would do it. AdBlue transfer pump. Do you think that would work? You can use it with acid as well. So that's got to work then, hasn't it, really? Get a 240 to 12 volt inverter and run your new pump on the Jenny. Okay, 240 to 12 volt. Inverter, converter, adapter. You said inverter, didn't you? I know nothing about electrics. This is all mind-boggling to me, this is. They're expensive, aren't they? Cracking idea, though. Absolutely ripper of an idea, that is. And that would mean it wouldn't need to be near the battery, so I can move it around. Adapter is probably the right word. No, that's not what we're after, is it? A cigarette lighter adapter, that is. Don't use them, it shags your batteries. Well, we're not plugging a battery into it, are we? We're going from the generator straight to a 12 volt pump. Generator, inverter, 12 volt pump. Can't wait to see it done, mate. Van mounted soft wash is the way forward, and everything is so highly priced. Even the trolley and all are all big prices for what they are. Yeah, yeah, it'd be nice to be able to find something that other people can replicate that's like nice and cheap, and I can just like, here's all the parts I bought, This is so easy to put together yourself. Like, that would be a cool video. X-Line do all the chemical pumps, but not the cheapest. That said, they're all quality bits of kit and will outlast any cheap models. Yeah, I don't like the idea of buying pre-assembled stuff, and like X-Line, I'm sure they're fine. And I know you're a big fan of X-Line because you've got a load of X-Line equipment, and I get it. Soft washing equipment. Bundles, mixing stations. Sniper chemical soft wash nozzle. That's what I need. Mixing station. I mean, look at that. It's $2.5 grand. It's $2.5 grand plus VAT. With two 25-litre containers, high flow chemical pump. We could do something similar to this, where it draws directly from the container. I mean, I have just bought the massive barrels, the massive water tanks, which I think were a good move anyway. So you don't have to keep swapping them over. These prices just really put me off, and I'm sure it's all worth it. Although, what's going on there? That dodgy fitting. I'm sure it's all worth it, and I'm sure it costs a lot to put these things together. I just can't justify paying that sort of money for something that I know I can do cheaper. And it might not be so good. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool self-contained little bit of kit, isn't it? Yeah. What about 300-litre drums, 3 pickup tubes with a shut-off valve, with a separate battery and a chemical pump mounted on the wall, and when you're finished with the job, use your onboard water to flush? Yeah, Joshua, I think you're on the right track there. I think I might be overcomplicating things by trying to do all the proportioner stuff. I don't like trying to mix them. I might be better off just batch mixing the chemical, but then I'm just concerned that what if I need hypo at 1 to 5 and then the next day I need it at 1 to 3 or at 50-50, and then what if I need the biocide at 1 to 30 and then the next day I need it at 1 to 20? Like, if I'm batch mixing like that and just running it through as it comes, I'm very limited to my proportions. Although you could just apply it twice. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. 3 pickup tubes with shut-off valves. 3 pickup tubes with shut-off valves. It'd still have to go into a manifold, wouldn't it? With 3 different tubes. Do you want me to build you one of them soft wash manifolds? I think, thank you for the offer, but Matt's just linked one which I think will work. Is there anything wrong with this? Can anyone see why this wouldn't work? Hypo in one, biocide in the other, outlet, pressure gauge. Oh, is that a return? Oh no, that one's not being used, is it? That one's not being used there. Again, that middle one's not being used. Any reason that wouldn't work? But let me guess, you want something to do what that does but not pay the price. Ain't you just explaining a dosatron? Yeah, I don't know about a dosatron. You're relying on the pressure from the input, and I don't want to rely on the pressure from the input. I want to create my own with a pump. You know what I mean? For that, you need a proportioner with your soft wash system. Yeah, so I bought one of these. Not that. Sorry, I didn't think you could see. I bought a metering valve here. Look. Again, don't think that's going to be big enough. It's a shame. See this picture? The thumbnail for the metering valves. They don't have that one on the website, which is a shame, because I'd have bought that one if they did. There's all sorts of ones on Fimco. Need to check that it's all proportion. Yep. I don't want a dosatron. I think, from what I could see a while back, you need a separate dosatron for biocide and a separate one for hypo. Or is it just the more expensive one that can do both? I can't remember. You haven't missed anything, Craig. Wow, thanks. Thanks, Daz. Did you still want me to do the windows at Dreamcar? Yes, please. We just haven't got round to even quoting the job yet, unfortunately. But yeah, I will call you as soon as I get the nod from them. I meant just the pump, not the whole system. High flow pump from your tank to feed the dosatron. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Just look at the American setups. We have been, Craig. We have been. Go to a pool store. They have plastic fittings and valves. I built my own. Oh, there's one actually close to me at the garden centre that we get our stuff from. Our hard setting sand. The D3 RE25 will do both. It's 800 quid. I'm not going to buy it. You know what I mean? I'm just not. I'm not going to spend 800 quid on a dosatron that I still have to connect a pump to. This is just a metering valve, isn't it? Essentially. Oh. Show me a price. Someone show me a price. It's a metering valve, isn't it? And I've still got to connect a battery and a pump. It's just for that sort of money, it's probably half of the kit that I actually need. It goes down to 4:1 and up to 25:1. A dosatron is batch mixing as you use it. It's batch mixing as you use it. What do you mean by that? Isn't it just dosing? You're halfway to 800 quid on these valves and tanks. Not really. I'm getting more for my money. I don't know, you guys are crazy. Give me the short story on why you're retiring the XJet. Unreliable, clumsy, sometimes ineffective, and I have no idea at what ratio it's actually going down. Never have, never will, unless I get some sort of high flow meter. Just offer to do a video on it and boom, it's free. That's not how that works. How can you complain about the price when you run a Jag? So because I've got a Jag, I'm not allowed to have an opinion on the price of this. Okay. I feel like I'm the only one that's sane in here. Why? Mm. Doesn't your switch tip do ratios for you? It does, but it is very dependent on the flow rate of your machine. It's dependent on the input, and you don't know what the input is. You never know what the input is. You never know the flow rate that you're putting through the XJet, because you're never running it on full whack. No one's really running their XJet on full whack, and so you're not putting out 21 litres per minute at 200 bar. So you're turning the pressure down, your unloader down, you're turning your revs down, and so now what are you running it at? And you don't know. And so the switch tip, it works, definitely works, but you don't know what it's coming through at. And also, depending on how often you're on and off that trigger, the chemical falls back down the hose every time you come off the trigger. And so you get back on the trigger, and for 3 or 4 seconds sometimes there's no chemical coming through, and so you're diluting the surface with lots of water before your chemical starts coming through. And if you're trying to train someone on that system, if you're trying to train someone that's a new starter in your business, I don't know, standing back and watching people do it is quite frustrating to watch, because it's like, this clearly isn't intuitive. It's not a good way of doing it. I love my XJet. I mean, fair play. I loved my XJet until I had to get other people to use the XJet. Tax write-off, just buy it, do a video on it, and you'll recoup some of that back. Craig, I could say that about everything. I could go and buy a new van and recoup some of that back and do a video on it and write some of it off as tax. Like, it's not always that easy, is it? Why spend on a Jag when a Fiat will do? Exactly. Has anyone actually compared the switch tip to batch mixing? I feel like it's miles off, floods the surface but uses half the amount of chemicals. Floods the surface but uses half the amount of chemicals. I don't know what you mean. Are you saying you feel like the switch tip's not working very well? Or you feel like it's putting too much water down? You feel like the ratios aren't correct? Have you ever thought about using a PVC needle valve? They're just as accurate and a whole lot cheaper. Let me have a look. PVC needle valve. I'm familiar with needle valves because I've got one on my pump, on my pressure washer. Mine looks like this. Oh, look. That one looks like a brass one though, so we don't want a brass one, do we? A PVC needle valve. I want something with a dial on the top so you can actually see, you can set it to a certain number. Doesn't matter what the number is, I just want to be able to set it and reuse that setting at a later date, like this. You guys always you always think that I'm making something more complicated than it needs to be, or why don't you just do this, or why don't you just do that? Like, Craig comes in and starts spewing all this stuff about just do this, just do this. It's like, I'm not just doing that because either I don't want to spend thousands of pounds on something which I think should be fairly simple. It should have been done by now. It should have been. Why hasn't anyone made a cheap version yet? Like, there's all these different iterations of a product that puts chemical down on the surface, and people have been doing this for years before I even thought of it. So why hasn't this stuff got cheaper? Why is it all 700-800 quid upwards. You know what I'm saying? Does no one else agree with that? That like, surely the more that you refine a system, things should get cheaper, not more expensive. Less clumsy. Don't know. I just feel like am I not? Do I not make sense? You guys always think I'm overcomplicating stuff, or that's the way it comes across in the chat anyway. That oh, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do this? Some of you are making like good suggestions and stuff. I get it, but like others are making out like the obvious move is just do this, but it's not always the obvious move when our goals may be different. You know what I mean? I thought my XJet was buggered and then realised the pressure was too high and wasn't picking the chemical up. It's not, dumbass, Clive, it's not. This stuff is difficult to use. It's not intuitive at all, I don't think. The XJet itself, people have a lot of issues trying to figure out how to use the XJet. You realise, like, if you've not got a vacuum, it's not going to pull the chemical. So if something's loose, or if you've got a hole in your hose or whatever it might be, the hose going down into the barrel, curling back up, and so it's just drawing air, it's not drawing any chemical. The vacuum in the barrel, if you don't have a little hole in your lid, it creates a vacuum and it creates pressure inside the barrel. Where is a vacuum the opposite of pressure? No, I don't think it is. Where it will get harder and harder to draw the chemical, and the barrel will start sucking itself in, and then eventually you'll get to the point where you can't actually pull any chemical through. And then there's the whole pressure and flow thing. You have no idea. You haven't got a repeatable system of being able to, okay, this is the setting I need to get this flow rate from my machine to make sure I'm putting down 1 to 3 of hypo. You can't do that. And then you introduce the switch tip and all the different proportioners. It's not intuitive. It's very difficult, especially for beginners. I just feel like I'm guessing the whole time. You have one hypo at 15% to reserve. Then you mix a container like 60-litre drum, then a boat battery and an on-off. Have one chemical hose 50 metre and then pressure hose 60 metre. So when you apply the hypo on walls, wait 10 minutes, rinse off with the pressure line. I think you'd have to draw it out for me, DJB, because I'm not really following what you're saying. You use the sniper when you're using biocide, Dusty. I'll do a video on how I calculate my flow, etc. when using the applicators. Far more accurate than just guessing. I put mine down full 30 litres per minute sometimes. Guaranteed 3 to 1. That's... No you don't, Cedars. Cedars, if you're running... I mean, I suppose if you're measuring it first. If you're able to measure the flow coming out of the end of the lance, then you can guarantee it. If you're filling up a jug and timing it and waiting until it gets to the top, okay, I'm using 30 litres a minute, or I'm using 15 litres a minute, or whatever it might be, then that's fine. But again, as soon as you put any sort of XJet or any sort of nozzle onto your trigger, it's a different flow rate now, because it's higher pressure, less flow, because you're squeezing the orifice through a nozzle. It's not just coming out the end of your trigger. I don't know. If you do it full flow, then you know what you're getting. I don't know anyone that's putting hypo down or biocide down at 30 litres a minute without like a conventional soft washing setup, like a big 30 litre per minute soft washing pump that's only putting out like 100 bar or something. Because buy cheap, buy twice. There's products out there, but the price is just not suitable for yourself. Nah, Craig, disagree, mate. Disagree. Buy cheap, buy twice, yes. Agree. But there's simplified ways of doing all this stuff. And it's just not been refined yet by someone that's got the resources, I don't think. And then when you do create something that really works, the price just goes like that. You see it with everything in the exterior cleaning industry. Something's good and it works and it's cheap, but to the consumer it's never cheap. The margin on some of these products is absolutely huge. The ones that are good, the margin is just huge because they know it's good. I feel like I'm going crazy. Issue is things will never go cheaper as people are paying the higher price, so nobody will lower it or they'll taking a loss. Yes, I agree it should be cheaper considering the materials it's from. 800 quid for a manifold is ridiculous when you can make them for less than 200 quid. Equipment in our market is niche and it's only tailored to us, so it will never be less. I also think due to being chemically related, too risky of it breaking more, so they have to cover costs of items being returned. You also have the issue if it's not rinsed out properly, salt crystallizes, it'll jam up your XJet, etc. Anything less than 40 meters, I've gone back to a watering can. If it's a larger area, then I just spot treat afterwards. See, that says it all, doesn't it, Craig? Don't you think? You've got resources, you've got money, you could buy whatever system that you wanted to apply chemicals, and yet you resorted to using a watering can, which is simple and effective, and it works. Probably not particularly quick, like having to fill stuff up, and the watering can's probably going to run out after 15, 20 meters squared roughly, so you're going to have to fill that up a couple of times to be able to get a proper driveway done. You're not going to get any sort of foaming action. It's, you know what I'm saying? Why haven't you bought a proper system to, considering you do this sort of work every day, why haven't you done that? It's because you can't justify paying that sort of money, isn't it? It's not just me. I'm not making sense, surely. The fact that you're using a watering can says it all, in my opinion. I reckon you can do it for about a £500 budget. I think you could do it for less, personally. I mean, you don't need 2 tanks. You could just do 1. You don't need 2 of these. So that's almost half the budget already. You could do it straight from the barrel, straight from the 20-25 litre hypo barrel or biocide barrel, and just drop the hose in like you do with the XJet. The truth is hypo is cheap, so if you're using 15 quid's worth instead of 12 on a £400 drive, what does it actually matter? That's a terrible way of thinking about it, in my opinion, Darren. That's a cop-out, surely. I think any waste is, if something's not effective, it's not only you're using, you don't know what the ratio is, so it's going down a bit stronger maybe, but it's also that it's just not effective and it's clumsy. I don't think it's not even just to do with the cost of the chemical. It's the efficacy of it all. Like my time spent, spending 20 minutes setting up and applying hypo to an average size patio, and then having to clean out all my equipment afterwards and put it away, only to find that it hasn't done its job. But I've used half a barrel of hypo. You know what I mean? It's not just the waste. It's I'm wasting my time doing all that and then having to do it again using a different method because the first method wasn't effective. I don't think there's anything daft about wanting to know what you are introducing to the right amount of chemical to water ratio and being able to do it consistently. Let me know if you figure it out. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I just want I want a bit of reliability and repeatability. You know what I'm saying? Look at the reels, for instance. They're so basic but so expensive. Yeah. No foolproof way to flow test high pressure yet. Yes, I put down full flow 21 litres per minute, as that's what the switch tip proportions are rated for, hence why I've dropped back to 12 volt. More control. I want more control. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine having my GX390 on full revs, putting hypo down. It would go everywhere, let alone 30 litres per minute through an XJet. Like, that's just insane. I put mine down frequently at full revs and full needle valve. It takes seconds. If not, 25 litre drum, have measured on a side, set your gun up with the applicator, set your flow time over a minute and check. Are you going, Cedars, are you going through you're going through the foamer, aren't you? The Pro Foam. So the Pro Foam's slightly different to the XJet with the way it comes out. The XJet's a lot higher pressure than the Pro Foam. So that could be why you're getting yours down a lot quicker and it's actually working. Yeah, so we're having two slightly different conversations there, comparing the XJet to the Pro Foam. 2 plastic ball valves, one for water and one for mixing the container. Connect a good Johnson marine pump, 12 volts to the power. They're the cheapest you can build, plus you know how much you mix. 2 plastic ball valves, one for water and one for mixing the container. What about the same idea but with 2 tanks, then gets pumped into a third that has a ratio bar on the drum and it gets picked up with the chemical pump? Boom. What about the same idea but with 2 tanks, then it gets pumped into a third? What's a ratio bar? A ratio bar. Need a surfactant tank too. I'm gonna pre-mix the surfactant into the hypo. Next year I'll be looking at going to a bigger van, and then all these things will be stuff I'm looking at. You won't spend £800-900 on a soft washing kit. You just won't. You know you won't. Even if you've got a space. I believe surfactant and foaming is also not necessary. Stopped using it all the time now. Often just use hypo and don't see a massive difference. It's not just the foam though, is it? It's the evaporation. You'll definitely notice it in the summer. With how quickly the hypo evaporates. and also not staying where you want it on certain surfaces. If there's no surfactant in it, it won't sit on the surface. It'll either absorb in occasionally, it'll go down into the joints instead of sitting on top and creating a nice layer. I know what you're saying. I think surfactant does make a massive difference. I would push back a little bit there. I miss what you're doing with the tanks, etc. But if you have it all measured up, then just put your hypo in and add water and bio, then 100 meters window clean and reel on an 18-volt pump. Yeah, we're doing something like that, but on a 12-volt pump. Yeah. Surely that's the cheapest way to get what you're after. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. To brush or not to brush the hypo, that is the question. Definitely to agitate. Will sort of reactivate it and put it where you want it on the surface. So especially with riven effect, riven textured stone, like a sandstone for example, which is super porous, when you put that hypo down, you might find that those top sections, the peaks, not the valleys, the peaks, the hypo will either evaporate or it'll run down and puddle in those lower sections of the stone. So if you've got black spots and algae on those peaks, your hypo is not going to last as long on those peaks. Same thing with block paving and stuff. It can sort of sink down into the joints. And so if you get a soft brush and agitate the surface, it puts it back up onto those peaks and moves it around out of the valleys where it's pooling in the valleys. So there's too much chemical down there and not enough on the peak. And so when you agitate it after 5 or 10 minutes, assuming it hasn't already evaporated, it's sort of reactivating it. Repeatability. Never brush hypo, that's your time you have to snag. Pro foam is what I use. It's way softer. I wouldn't dare use the XJet or ProJet. Yes, yeah. You hit 80,000 subs, plus is your new video out yet? Thank you for reminding me. We've just hit 80,000 subs. Whoop whoop. Arbitrary number that doesn't really affect anything, but achievement. New video is not out yet. I haven't no. I meant the mill that's already written on the drum. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Sorry, but the difference between surfactant and no surfactant is night and day. Agreed. Question, you're going to have a 60-litre tank with, I'm guessing, 20 litres of hypo and 40 litres of water. Do you know how long that will last before it starts not working as well? Or are you going to be mixing well on jobs? So the idea of the tank originally was to have neat hypo. So I can pour like 3 barrels or 2 barrels of hypo into here and then run it through a metering valve which will mix it with water. As the pump pulls it through, it's also pulling through water, and the ratio is dependent on what this metering valve. It's got 2 inputs and 1 output. So you'll have water, neat hypo, it'll proportion it, and then it will come out whatever it's mixed at. That's the idea behind the tank. So I have one with neat hypo, and the other one, because the biocide is so thick and gloopy, I don't trust the pump to pull it through quick enough, and so I think I'll dilute the biocide at least 50-50, just to make it a bit less viscous. The only thing with the biocide is it will settle to the bottom, and it will have a tendency to separate from the water. And so I think with the biocide, we're going to have to get a paddle inside. So before we use the biocide, we're going to take the lid off, put a paddle down inside, which is what Shay from NiClean has to do at his place, and then just mix mix the biocide up, which isn't ideal. I'd like to avoid doing that if possible, but I don't know any other option really, other than running it through neat and then proportion it afterwards. I don't know. Here's another £5 towards your soft wash setup. You're welcome. Craig, thank you so much for your 34 months. Just a little shout out to Craig. We have our differences every now and again, and we have a good... Craig's one of them people that will push back. Same with Darren, actually. You can have a proper conversation with people like that because they don't tell you what you want to hear. They'll push back. They'll have different opinions. They'll call you out on your bullshit. It's always good to talk to people like that because they keep you in check every now and again. Craig has had a free membership in the Discord for months, maybe even like a year now, potentially. Free access to the community, free access to all the boosted pictures and all that sort of stuff, and yet he's still paying £5 a month for his circle membership, just to show a little bit of support. Which, isn't that lovely? Isn't that really nice? Thank you, Craig. I always appreciate you. Quick question. If no one's actually talking to you, what are you listening to through your earphones? Music. The same music. Can you not hear the music? Have you not been able to hear the music the whole time? If I just hear myself talking, it feels a little bit dead in here. Feels a little bit high pressure environment. I feel the need to have to like be more entertaining because there's no background noise. Music in the background is always less pressure for me. I've got a full soft wash setup, 4-way manifolds, 3-way flush valve and remote chem line. All the best parts cost me £1,100, 3k in the shop. Yeah, so £1,100 for all the best stuff. That's not so hard to swallow, and it's presumably, Stanley, it's perfectly set up for your van, your equipment, the way you like to work. It's not something that someone's created and you had to sort of adapt, and it doesn't quite fit right, and it's not quite... So £1,100 for something that's very specific to what you want, I think is not bad. Good idea, water it down. Yeah, don't see it with surfactant myself, but maybe slightly strong with my applications, and only really stopped using it over winter. Yeah, you can get over the lack of surfactant with just increasing your ratio. I mean, if you're using 1:3 on everything, that's very strong. And if you're putting it through, your pro foam as well and your switch tips, you're probably going through a lot more chemical than you actually need to. If you add surfactant and you did 1:5 and turned everything down and applied it in a little bit more of a controlled way, you might find that you get better results with less chemicals, which is, I think, where this chemical lance comes in. I bet you if you... I mean, I saw a massive difference running our backpack. When you fill the backpack up with 20 litres of or like 15 litres of water and 5 litres of hypo and put it through a little lance, it lasts ages, and you can cover so much more ground surface than I would have with the XJet with the same amount of chemical, and it works first time. I don't have to go back over anything to get any black spots that might not have that the hypo might not have worked on. I'll if I get this sorted the way I think it's going to work, we're going to save so much chemical. And Darren or Daz, to your point earlier about the difference between £12 and £15 on hypo. On each job, the difference that we would see, because I've already seen it, compared the XJet compared to the backpack when we're putting hypo through, it will be hundreds of pounds across the year. With the size of the jobs that we do and the amount of chemicals that we use, hundreds of pounds a year, easily. And so if I can get this done once and do it right, and have it safer for my staff, use less chemicals, and have it more effective and waste less time, I think it's a no-brainer personally for me. Personally, I would change this to a 25 litre drum. The 60 litre, you mean? Instead of having the big 60 litre. I'd rarely put it down less than 3-to-1. Give it a good mix, it'll work. Got to support my little YouTuber. Your biggest supporters is your biggest strangers. Not sure what that means, Central. He can't find the cancel button. This still live. Absolutely, Mills. Thank you so much for the 6 months. The 6 month subscription for Mills. He's been around for much longer than 6 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, mate. So you use sodium hypochlorite and biocide. What's the biocide used for? Generally for roof cleaning. We'll often treat every single roof that we either scrape the moss off or that we pressure wash. We'll treat it with biocide as well, just to keep it cleaner for longer. Kill anything that might be left on the roof. We also use biocide for maintenance plans. So if we're cleaning, chemically treating, then like sealing a surface or using hard setting sand, or just we don't want to keep pressure washing decking every year, or we don't want to keep pressure washing like a fragile patio that's got like fragile pointing on it. We'll clean it once, we'll give it a deep clean once with a pressure washer and a chemical treatment, and then we'll revisit every 6 to 12 months to just maintain it with a biocide treatment. Really good for decking. You don't want to be pressure washing decking every year. I'm just going to nip to the toilet. I will be back in a sec because I'm squirming here because I've been desperate for a wee for like an hour. Back in a sec. Soph won't give me a square of her chocolate. She's already given me 2 rows. I just want one more square. Didn't think it'd break the bank, but ow. Yeah, also we use biocide on fragile surfaces where you can't use hypo. Do you not use the nano trolley seeders? I agree. I now use the 12 volt and the Lance 90% of the time, saving about 30 litres of hypo a week. 30 litres of hypo a week you're saving by just putting it down a bit more frugally. Do you feel like it does a better job as well? Better application. Even better with biocide applications. Yeah. You can buy the blue 60 litre drum just like hypo but bigger. Okay. Oh yeah, the round ones. I've seen them. Whatever you end up making, your buying takes longer than it takes you to just connect your XJet to the gun and then apply. Your extra labour costs will probably offset the £2 to £3 difference in hypo costs. I think you're missing the point, Darren. You're saying the time it takes me to buy stuff and decide on which parts that I want and put it all together and get it sorted and working well. You're saying that's offset by the £2 to £3 difference in hypo and the extra labour costs. No, it's not. Across the year, you're saying if I spent 3 days, 3 whole days designing and setting this up, buying stuff, designing it, setting it up, making it, getting it to work. If I spent 3 whole days doing that, that's still more cost effective than wasting all that time on labour across a year, for example, on extra labour, time that it takes to apply these chemicals, loss of chemicals, having to apply stuff twice because the first application didn't work so well. Am I reading that right, Daz? That's crazy that you'd say that. Then your extra labour costs will probably offset the £2 to £3 difference in hypo costs. I don't know what you're saying. Not the building it, the using it. If it involves multiple steps to mix stuff, move things around, etc., then apply it. Your time building it also costs money. No, this is going to be so much quicker and easier to use. It's not going to be grabbing the XJet hose, taking the lid off the barrel, putting the XJet into the thing, hooking it up to the switch tip, taking 10 litres of chemical all the way around the property with you, and then having to flush everything back through again. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be connect the lance, pull out your 50 metres of thin low pressure hose and press an on button and start applying it. Because bearing in mind, like, when we're using the XJet, quite often we'll have to use it multiple times, or use a different method of applying something a little bit stronger, like a pump sprayer afterwards. We're wasting so much time on these big jobs, and sometimes it's just like, oh, it's not even worth doing it again. Like, it's such a big area. I'm not happy with the result, but it would be such a waste of time doing this again and then still potentially not getting the result, and the employees not mucking about with an XJet and potentially hurting themselves or damaging the customer's property and stuff. Daz, I think I don't understand why you can't see what I'm saying. I've sent you a video on WhatsApp of how I opt to do mine now, and you will piss all over what I do, so very interested. And you will piss all over what I do, so very interested. Alright. I'm not intentionally going to try and piss over what you do, by the way. That's not how I work. This is a collaboration. This is the greatest minds on YouTube getting together and trying to solve the biggest issues in the world. Backyard surveillance, neighbour spying, tree exploration, look cool, eat, sleep, fly drones, repeat. I got my pizza there as well. Nice. World's okayest pilot. He's a good looking chap, isn't he? Crashes 0. Not counting the one that one last time. That's funny. Right. Is this the right video? I think it is. Hang on.
nano trolley in the van. We're running 17 metres of hose. So this job is a job that we do preventive maintenance on. So we come in, we do a treatment on the slabbed areas up to the step. I don't want to be pulling out here, the jet wash. I don't want to be pulling out, make sure there's water in the van. So we've got the treatment in the tank. We connect up my lance and we do a treatment.
What nozzle have
Very
you got on
easily.
there?
Very straight.
What nozzle's that? It doesn't look like it's coming out.
Straight.
It looks like it's coming out like a big cone, like a big splatty cone. I want like a nice fan, like a nice heavy fan, is what I'm looking for. Not a splatty foam.
In the area that we need
Cone, splatty cone.
to. It's a cracking method to do it. You know, it's quiet. It's easy going. For maintenance jobs like this, where you're just putting down a treatment, be it on a driveway or a patio, then honestly, I don't think that we could ask for something better than the nano trolley. You don't lose pressure. You know, you can turn it on and off just with the chemical lance,
Yeah, I agree.
and it's just so easy.
I agree.
So easy.
I do like that. I don't like the nozzle that you've got on there. Yeah, the Gardener does have a nice fan jet. It does. Heavy flow. Just how we like it. Hi Jake, I'm Nana Tracy. I don't think I've got a Nana Tracy, but welcome to the live stream, Tracy B. I can see what you're saying, but you risk trying to reinvent the wheel to save a few litres of hypo a year. It's not the hypo. It's Daz. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm trying to make something cheaper than 800 quid. Upwards of over £1,000. I'm just trying to make something simple and cheap that works well. Not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's already been done. I'm just trying to do a cheap version of it. And I'm not just trying to save hypo. I'm trying to save time when the first hypo application doesn't work. And then you're fanny about fumbling. Luca's Nanny Tracy. Oh. Luca's Nanny Tracy. Luca's Nanny Tracy. Have we met? I'm not sure we've met. We might have done. Backwards trolley again. It's not. Darren, are you taking the piss? Are you messing me about? Are you doing this on purpose to try and rile me up? Because it's working. Mike's mum. Okay, sorry. Thank you. I used to come to your house. I used to play with Clayton. The 06 nozzle is for biocide. It's larger droplets, so minimal drift. Okay. So there is a method. Only use the fan for hypo when there's less risk involved. I'm thinking like a big soap nozzle would be good. The black nozzle that you get with most machines. I think that would be good. Very heavy flow. And it goes down so quick that I can't imagine there'd be much drift. You still need to refill your 60-litre tanks with chemicals, which equals risk. Yeah, but that would be done back at the unit, probably by me or Kieran. They wouldn't need to be using a bit and then refilling on the job and mixing surfactant into it and just messing about with hoses and funnels. The amount we mess about with funnels at the minute. You've got to be having me on. I'm biting. I'm clearly biting. It'll be done back at the unit. It'll be done at the start of the week. Have we got 60 litres of hypo? Yes. Have we got 40 litres of biocide? Yes. Okay. You're good to go for a couple of days. And then we'll just check it periodically throughout the week. And it gets done in a controlled environment, not Not when you're halfway through a job, sort of rushing, trying to get stuff done. Don't you see what I mean, Daz? Please, just give me an inch. Let me rephrase, because that came out a little bit wrong. Give me something. Mixing manifold, 1 preset is number 1, and 2 preset, and so on. Number 6, 50-50, depending on plumbing. I think I'm going to have to go. I'm going to go and stick my head into my pillow and scream into my pillow because no one understands me. Oh, I just broke that. No one gets me. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to make something better. If you're going to tell me that the XJet and the switch tip is the final form and that's the best way of doing stuff, else you have to spend over £1,000 on some soft washing kit. If that's what you're going to tell me, then I refuse it. I straight up refuse it. I will not have it. Same as roof cleaning. I don't think it's all the whole roof cleaning gig. Setting up scaffolding towers, long extendable poles, flat surface cleaners on the roof, turbo nozzle. Like it's not its final form, is it? It can't be. And it's not. We're not talking about reinventing the wheel. We're talking about improving something that clearly isn't fit for purpose. It doesn't work. It works, but it's very difficult and very dangerous. Daz, maybe, I don't know if you've got staff. I don't think you have got staff, but maybe when you're in a position when you've got employees, especially young employees, maybe you'll understand my concerns with roof cleaning and with chemical application. Maybe one day you'll understand. I'm going to go before I say something stupid. Daz had 20 staff and they're all 18 to 20. I used to have 5 full-time employees and a lot of regular subbies. Not for exterior cleaning, you didn't. I don't believe you. Was that when you were an electrician? You're still an electrician, aren't you? Playing devil's advocate, new employees risk of mixing the hypo or biocide on the job. So that's the only bit of training needed on that equipment. Imagine the difference in training with an on-off switch and a chemical lance versus the whole XJet debacle and switch tip. And so number 1 is about 1 to 3. Number 2 is about 1 to 5, but we actually don't know. Number 3 is, and then it's like, what's 1 to 3? What does that mean? Come on. It's not intuitive, and no one can tell me it is. I all use the XJet perfectly. Okay. Mills, thanks, mate. Thanks for resubscribing. I appreciate you. Before you say something stupid, what have you been talking about for the last few hours? Did someone mention the backwards trolley? Good night, Tracy. Gonna make Jake start drinking again. I've already started drinking again. Trying to stick to weekends, but it's tough. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week. I might not come back next week. You've all been so mean tonight. You've been so mean and aggressive. You might not see me here next week. We'll continue this in the Discord. So why are you retiring the XJet again?